Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking to Nick Ferrell of Ferrell Fitness Solutions. What's really cool about Nick is that he's all about taking action. He started his business a couple years ago as a personal trainer, and slowly, over time, by listening to his clients, he's been able to position himself in a very lucrative, very specific niche. Basically, he went from being a personal trainer to a golf fitness expert. So his story is all about taking action and making it happen. He's a really cool guy. Let's check out the interview. We got these nice little balls here.
I was just curious how fast you were going to go.
So do you sit on these like in your office?
Oh yeah, dude. I just sit up here like.
So if you can just tell me like a little bit about your business, and then we'll go. I want to talk about like a little bit of your background and like maybe kind of what shaped you growing up.
So my business, what I do is basically golf fitness. If you want to niche it down a little bit more, I guess you could say I kind of do post-rehab corrective exercises. Okay. For people who get done with physical therapy and still need more work, still need more guidance, and just how to exercise, how to get back into general going to a gym, and feeling comfortable doing it. So.
Cool. So you said like you kind of have more of a niche, right?
Right.
It's not just about going to the gym. Can you talk about the specific niche that you're in?
So with the specific niche I do, I guess you could say I'm trying to be that in between a physical therapist and a personal trainer. It's a little bit more in between like sports medicine realm, which is what I went to school for. So I do a lot of basically warm-up type of corrective exercises, if you will, or what I call them also is like muscle activation exercises to make sure just the body's in sync and kind of in tune, kind of like yoga. Like yoga, people go to yoga to be in tune with their mind and their physical body. So I kind of incorporate that into like a pre-warm-up routine and then get into general exercises based off how my clients feel.
So like doing things like that, can that make you stronger? Like can you be, say,
Absolutely.
Whether you're working out, maybe you're not activating the muscles properly?
Right.
So this type of thing.
It is 100% successful at making you stronger and better. It's all about form. It's all techniques. The two biggest things that I drive into my clients' heads that you have to do every rep right. And you want to start slow, and then you start thinking about speed and power and all the other bigger movements. So you can't do these very athletic movements without having the proper technique, proper form. Otherwise, you're going to get hurt eventually.
So if we can take it back a little bit to like, where did you grow up? Did you always want to be an entrepreneur? What were you like growing up? Were you more shy? Were you more extroverted?
So funny story. I was very introverted growing up, very shy. Didn't really talk to anybody. I was always outside playing alone by myself. I had a big creek, 200 acres of woods in my backyard. And my mom would always ask me, funny story would be, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I just want to dig. Because that's all I would do is just dig holes, build dams. Build stuff to trap animals and critters and fish. I was just like, well, I'm really good at this and that. So my mom thought I was going to go into construction. She almost cried.
Okay, so you're chilling, you're doing your thing outside, and then maybe like what happened when you got to high school, or when did you start thinking about entrepreneurship?
Really, from the time I was 4 years old all the way up to even college, even throughout college, I really didn't know much about what I wanted to do. All I knew was I was a pretty good athlete. I was an athlete year-round, and I just knew sports. Like, even if I didn't know how to socialize and talk with people since I was very introverted, I had my, athletic buddies, my teammates that I would hang out with. Never really hung out with too many other people. So I just always had, kind of that attachment to sports. And when I got to college, that's how I started studying sports medicine and exercise science, because I just knew, I knew a lot about sports. I wanted to know more about the human body, and even when I get injured, how to prevent that.
So when did you, what happened like during college or after you graduated? Did you start working like a traditional job, or how did you make like that transition into becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, so when I first graduated college, my best friend was already out of college. I was a fifth-year senior, so he had a year ahead of me to kind of, get into the real world. And he was out here in Charleston working out at Kiowa, and he's like, hey, man, you want a job? Just be around the beach, hang out for the summer, and have a great time.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, and I'm familiar with Charleston because we used to play in soccer tournaments down here growing up. So I was like, yeah, let's move to the beach, hang out, and figure life out that way. I mean, life at the beach can't beat that.
Yeah. Is any cool, like...
So then after that, that summer out of Kiowa, I had probably within a year or two at least 8 to 10 odd jobs. At one point I had 5 jobs, working 16 hours a day.
So talk about some of
So, I mean, I worked anything from mainly like staff management agencies where I could like, if I needed a couple $100 to really get together, like I could go work a set or a job at Charleston Place or some type of catered event, some type of social dinner party, if you will. Personal training, I was doing it at a major big box gym, and then some on the side, just like out and about. I started personal training right after that summer, so that's what got me into that. And then after a while, I was like, all right, well, I need to get more of a full-time job, and I found a full-time job as an assistant manager, kind of a small gym downtown. And after about a year, I just knew like I didn't want to work for a gym owner anymore. I wanted to be in control of everything that was going on, and I felt like I could do a better job, especially with my knowledge of what I knew and even just the way things were going. So it took a lot of mentorship. It took a lot of like people helping to push me off that edge to get me uncomfortable, because I was very uncomfortable doing that on my own. But when I finally took that jump, I've never looked back.
And I think you've done a really good job at, finding your niche and just owning it. So if you can talk to kind of how you got from starting personal training to getting into that specific niche.
So I will say that I keep a binder. It's kind of like my life journal, and in each divider, kind of like, in school where you divide stuff in a homework section, project section, this and that. I have one for goals, long-term, short-term, mid-term. And then I have one for projects. Just like most millennials, I always have some little things I want going on. I'm trying to stay niche because it's keeping me focused, and I just know that nobody else is really doing it, or from what I've been getting feedback-wise, doing it well. So I'm trying to be that specialist. Like, I want to be that guy. Like, I knew even when I had other friends that were entrepreneurs or clients or even old relationships, they would always ask me what I'm going to do. And I was like, if I'm going to stay with this, I'm going to be the best at it. And that's the same mentality that my older brother pretty much gave me is, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to be the best at it, or the best I can be at it.
Did that come from sports?
Sports, very competitive, both of us growing up. We go head-to-head all the time at everything, academically, physically, you name it. We've done it. And my brother's just still kind of that driving force behind everything. I see how well he's doing with being a vet surgeon. So he's in the medical field. I was thinking about going to the medical field. Right now I'm just seeing what else I can do. Yeah. That's kind of like my fallback, my other option.
That's cool. Always have a few options, but
I feel like everybody just kind of jumps into grad school and jumps into this, jumps into that.
Yeah,
it's like, well, see what you can really do.
Right.
Because I feel like you build more character traits that way. You really find out more about yourself. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they graduate school and they go into grad school and then they go into real life, they just go into like auto mode. Like they just never really experience much, because it's like now you're working, now you're doing all this, now you got to settle down and get a family, and then you have no time to experience anything.
Exactly. So you kind of took a different route, trying to explore your options while you can, right? Like while you have the ability to take a few risks, which is awesome, man.
My goal is by the time I'm 30 in another few years that I'll completely know exactly what I want to do. So I decided to take my 20s and say, let's figure it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you were telling me, one thing you mentioned was that you had a lot of mentors, and like you were surrounding yourself with positive people, and even I think you said your mentor mentioned this book to you. How do you go about getting mentors or surrounding yourself with the right type of people?
Well, I guess it's not just the way you, present yourself or hold yourself. And most people, like the gentleman who reached out to me with this book, he just watched me. He worked around my setting all the time. He always constantly watched me from a distance, and he could just kind of tell and see. And he also has a lot of other people in the area that he also mentors on the side, mainly younger millennials who are trying to get their stuff together, that he sees potential. But I think in this area in general, millennials just need to not be afraid to ask for help. Outside of their parents, because even people that I've mentioned, hey, maybe you should get a mentor, it really helped me. get my stuff together. I think millennials just need to not be afraid to ask for help, basically, because most of my friends who have asked, hey, maybe you should get a mentorship, you know, you're thinking about starting a business, this would be a really good thing to keep you focused on that. And it's good to have your parents there, but they're always kind of been there. Maybe reach out to a mentor that has something, a skill set that you want to have, but your parents can't teach you that because they don't have that skill set. So you can have a mentor for just about anything in life, whether it's a certain skill, characteristic, you just want to dress like them, I don't know, anything that you can think of.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, I even had a guy that, he was like my stylist for a while. I used to train him and barter with him for, like, whenever I go out to like a black tie, you know, any big cocktail party.
You said something so important, though. You said something so important. I used to train him and barter with him, right? So most people say, oh, if I want a mentor, I'm just going to go and ask this person to help me. Right. But it sounds like you intuitively knew I have to add value to them in a way that, you know, we can exchange value.
Right.
So,
and that's what it's all about. So another one of my mentors, he is a father. He's always on the road traveling. He's out and about, and then he has kids at home. So for him to take time away from his family to come talk to me at a coffee shop or to go to lunch with me, different things like that, like that's very valuable to me, and I want to give back whatever I can to him. Whether it's showing my success from that time with him or doing something like taking a gift basket during Christmas or Thanksgiving or even just writing a letter, a gift card, and just dropping it off at his doorstep, even when they're not there. So the little things like that, you can't just take and expect to get a lot back. You have to give, and you have to do it openly and feeling it.
In a genuine way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Can we talk about some of these books that you brought?
Sure thing. So, say the biggest one. Do you want me to like show it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll put it in the show notes.
So I'd say the biggest one is this book, The Magic of Thinking Big, by David Schwartz. My first mentor gave me this book, and it wasn't a mentor that I necessarily chose. It's a mentor that reached out to me and gave me my first push because he saw my potential. He saw how genuine I was with people and how much I cared for them, and so he just reached out to me and could kind of tell I was kind of going through a little bit of a rough time. I was going through all my 5 jobs, just going back and forth. So he buys me this book, The Magic of Thinking Big, and after I read it, everything just kind of made sense. It's basically like a baseline, everything that we've talked about. Another book called How to Manage Your Time and Get Control of Your Life. And one of the biggest principles that I learned from that is the ABC principle. And what it is setting priorities in your day. So make a daily checklist of the priorities that you want to accomplish that day. And the ABC is kind of like A's are primary. Like they may take longer to develop, but those are the ones you really want to go after. Okay. Like if it's like, you know, I want to gain referrals from all these other businesses in the area, by the end of the week, I'm starting with that right now. B priorities they don't take quite as long. They're usually accomplished very quick. It would be something like, all right, I want to schedule this walk-in client today and have him as a new client, something like that. Okay. Something simple and quick and easy. And then your C priorities are the easiest. Usually a lot of people catch themselves doing C priorities, and they can accomplish a lot of them in one day. And it's self-fulfilling.
Right, and they're not uncomfortable to do.
Yeah, right? It'd be like, okay, well, I have that big A priority. It's going to require me to drive around town a lot and go meet all these people. Or I can just stay here and do laundry, do the dishes, and, do all this other stuff from right here. Make phone calls. And I guess another thing you could say, going back to a question you mentioned earlier, is I'm not afraid to go out there and do all that work. I'm not afraid to put myself in front of people.
How did you develop that skill? 'Cause I think that's so important. People are afraid to be bold. People are afraid to put themselves out there. How do you develop the skill set of saying, I'm not afraid to fail, I'm not afraid what people think of me, I'm just going to go and do it?
I guess going back to that jump, a lot of changed when I made that jump mentally. I just have that I don't care personality. I'm coming in, whether you like it or not. I'm coming in fast and hard. So just like a bull, I have that bull mentality.
Okay. So you said
it's not pushing people out of the way. It's like, all right, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to do something else.
Right. So you said when you made that jump mentally, right? So was there a moment that you had made the decision, or?
Can you say that? Euphoric, just
Can you
It was that
describe that
aha
moment? Can you describe it?
Your body gets really warm, you get really excited, and you probably run a couple miles.
What happened? What happened though? How did you find out? How did you know?
It just clicks. It's one of those things, like I'm a deep thinker, even when I'm at rest and not moving or listening to music, like my head just keeps spinning. I'm always thinking about different ideas, different things, and all of a sudden it just made sense.
Was there...
Everything just kind of...
It came together?
All the bits and pieces just literally just went...
Was there a unique event? Because sometimes when people make a big decision like this, it's because something bad happened, right? And they want to make a change. Or was it different for you, where just pieces were kind of coming together and you just realized?
I think it was just, I just realized it. I wish I could remember the moment exactly. I just remember the feeling. I can't remember exactly where I was, but I just knew I told everybody.
Yeah, okay, that's how you do it, dude. Once you start telling everybody, then you're 100% in, right? You're talking about, right now, you are doing all your training in person, right?
Right.
But you're looking to try to scale that business,
right?
And potentially go online. Can you talk about how you came up with that idea and, a little bit, your ideas on expanding such a, person-to-person business, how you go about expanding?
Sure. So I'm always one of those guys that I already knew when I first started this, I always want to have hands-on. So I never wanted to just take a step back, collect money, let other people manage my business and do the training and whatnot. I always knew I wanted to be somewhat hands-on. But I can just see kind of where our generation's going, where everything's going with online social media, with just using more like technology, applications. I even see people who come in all the time with their phones and they'll just put on this app of a training thing and they just watch a video and just go through it. So if I could do that and just do like a little 15-minute golf workout and something like that for people, I think it would benefit them tremendously. I've kind of seen the market that's been doing it already, and I think I have some value to add to that, even with my own little niche on top of it, my own little personal brand. So that's kind of what's pushed me to want to do my online website content stuff that I'm still in the process of developing, but I've already gotten a bunch of interest, just people asking about it so far. Yep. And I know that I can only train so much. I only have so much energy and youth and time in the day to work with these people, and I have to have time, to eat and sleep. So I think if I can help more people out on a platform, if you will, a social media or online platform, I think that'll benefit them and myself tremendously.
Awesome.
Allow me to reach out to a bigger, broader crowd.
Cool, man. Just want to close with like a few rapid fire questions. So what's like the first 10 minutes of your morning like? Do you have any specific habits? Like, what do you do?
Entire 1 hour that I have to myself in the morning before training is in 10-minute increments. And every 10-minute increment has a purpose. So I'll hit the snooze button one time in the morning. And during that 10 minutes, sometimes if I need a little bit extra sleep, I'll go back to sleep. Otherwise, I lay there in bed for a minute, just kind of gather my thoughts, gather myself, kind of give myself a little pep talk for the day, what do I want to accomplish. And then the next 10 minutes, I'm getting ready, 10, 20 minutes to get my food prepared to eat. And then even on the drive over, about 10, 15, 20 minutes, I'll kind of gather my thoughts again, just give myself another little pep talk, and then hit the ground running all the way to my lunch break. And then I get a little break to regather myself to work out and do whatever I need to do, work on my golf game, if you will.
Do you have any specific new passions or any new hobbies that you've been getting into recently?
Mountain biking, I would say. I bought a mountain bike when I graduated from college in hopes I would stay in Georgia and mountain bike around a lot. And that never really happened because I moved here where it's flat and there's nothing, no mountains around. So getting into mountain biking, kind of going up the mountains and being a nomad, kind of doing my own thing and just kind of taking a step back from the city and the rest of the world, just being at peace.
That's cool, man.
So I'd say mountain biking has been one of my biggest new things.
Cool. And then the last question, do you have any things that you're working on personally or anything that you're struggling with right now you're trying to improve?
Guess just my old body falling apart from all my old sports injuries.
That's funny, man. All right, well, I think we're good, man. I appreciate you being on the show.
Absolutely.
It's been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
Enjoyed it.
Awesome. Cool.